Hello, friends. My name is host Derek. Welcome to the Unchill Island? Maybe. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is just the alternative to the chill island of reality and meow meow, whatever it's called, over at CJ's. And the primary distinction being it's not as chill around here, I guess, you know. There's one possible interpretation, anyway. Please do note, I'm not saying that CJ is making a commentary on this channel with his title. I'm just saying I'm comparing my stream to his. And since he self-identifies as the chill oasis of whatever, and has pictures of island, I wonder if I am then necessarily the unchill island. It's possible. It's pretty chill around here. It's not that unchill. It made me giggle to hear CJ wrestle with all these little inter-stream dramas. Intra-stream, I guess I should say. Intra-stream dramas that occur. Well, with parties sniping at each other with pathologizations. No, there's something wrong with you. No, there's something wrong with you. Look, there's something wrong with all of us. Namely, we're all dumb. Every last one of us. Dumb as dumb can be. We're just dumb in different ways, but Ja_all. 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 Ja'al? Are you Ja'al? Hi. Hi, Al. My grandfather's name was Albert. Albert Cole, they called him. I'm sorry, it was actually Alfred. Doy. It's Alfred Cole, not Albert. My bad. Still Al, though. Still Al either way. Either one qualifies as an owl. But neither one qualifies as an owl. Isn't that interesting? Anyhow, CJ stopped streaming, and I was, around the time when CJ stopped streaming, kind of getting an inkling to maybe want to stream. Remember all the people honking their horns, clamoring for me to live stream. Anyway, it's been kind of a dispiriting day. I had kind of a downer conversation with my dad about, and my daughter about, like, family affairs and finances and caregiving costs for my mom and long-term care insurance and a bunch of, like, stuff that's like estate stuff, you know. Naturally, that's always depressing, in part because it makes me think about my parents' death. And you know, the challenge of my mom's situation is such that you know, she's in a residential facility with a memory section which provides full care 24/7, you know. So it's expensive. And my dad had long-term care insurance to cover those kind of costs, and it did cover about half the costs, but you know, it's running out in December. My mom's still doing fine, apparently, health-wise, even though she's got really advanced dementia. She seems to be in physically good health. Hi, Maddie Sanchez. So that was kind of a depressing conversation. Then Rachel's had a flare up of her symptoms the last couple of days prior to today uh, on her neuropathy and got concerned that maybe it was linking to serotonin buildup again or something like that, or just got fretful about it. As I've thought about it and everything, I think that the correct conclusion is we're not really sure why it flared up again for a couple of days there, but it never really went away entirely in the first place. This is still a continuation of the initial precipitating event, and she skipped a day of the Prozac and then she felt better today. So it's suggested that it may be the case that the Prozac is slightly overprescribed, like instead of 10 milligrams she needs to take 9 or something like that, or that she just needs to skip a day occasionally because its cumulative effects. So anyway, those two things were both dispiriting for me and Rachel. It was like Rachel's got this so Rachel contacts the doctor and suggests, is there a problem with this Prozac? Is that why I'm getting this reflaring up of the symptoms? The doctor negates the idea that the Prozac has anything to do with it. It's like we're done searching for a diagnosis here, But Rachel, when she sees the symptoms flare up, naturally contacts her psychiatrist and says what's going on, The problem is this. What's going on is this. Her neuropathy stems from a toxic drug interaction, and it's the least common source of neuropathy. It is noted in the literature that exposure to industrial chemicals and solvents can cause neuropathy, and I'm pretty sure that basically what happened here is some form of the equivalent, some combination of those drugs and a variety of different things. They all take the same detoxifying pathway, and that pathway got clogged, and that toxicity being stuck where it was stuck caused damage to that pathway, is what I think happened. But see, that kind of neuropathy that's actually in the brain, or right up in here, like the very back of the spinal cord or something, is not the kind of neuropathy you can really do anything about. It just has to repair it on its own. On the other hand, because it's in the brain, it's more likely to repair unless you continue putting a lot of pressure on it by overloading it with serotonin or something like that, right? So I had this back and forth with the doctor, and in the end, he ended up saying that my explanation was plausible, but he wouldn't bet on it, But the reason he wouldn't bet on it is because he's ignoring some huge things that are kind of determinant in the question, which is like the precipitating event meant a sudden onset of these symptoms that were worst at the beginning and got better as she's moved away from that moment in time. This recent blip, of course, Rachel being SI 8th, doesn't recognize it for what it is. Like, the slope hasn't been straight down, right? It's been like meow. This could be like just a sort of a last ditch gasp of the more noticeable symptoms, or it could be linked to her serotonin levels getting too high again. Even though we've not been doing anything but her prescription drugs and maybe smoking weed. Anyway, so that exchange was frustrating because even with my good doctor, Dr. Ingram, the one I picked out, I had to follow up my first thing with, that didn't really answer my question. Let me rephrase it, It's like, stop. Why does the world think it can get away with not answering my questions and then pretending as though they didn't not answer my questions? It's like, if you're not going to answer my question, at least say to me, I don't want to answer your question. Don't just try to not answer and hope it slip it by me. It's like, you're not going to slip it by me, ever. If I asked a question and it didn't get answered, I'm going to notice that. Have you watched Attack on Titan, and what is your favorite character? Yes, I've watched Attack on Titan. Hongi? I'd say Hongi is my favorite character. Is that her name? The lady with the glasses who was doing experiments on the Titans, and she seemed kind of mean, but she's actually good. And, that lady? I like her. She's dead now. I think she was shot maybe by that girl from from Germany, or whatever you want to call that other country. It's basically Germany. What's it called? It's Paradise Island. But what's the other country called they're up against? So the thing is, the doctor gets her worried, Rachel worried about maybe she's got diabetes, maybe she's got multiple sclerosis, maybe she's got a tumor pushing on something, except we have to keep going back to some central things that we know. The symptoms started after a clearly precipitating event at their maximal level and have decreased since that event. That's not consistent with the neuropathy patterns displayed by either multiple sclerosis or diabetes or something like a tumor. It's only consistent with exposure to toxicity, which is a one-time event and presumably gets better over time as your body heals, you know. So it's frustrating because it creates a situation where the doctor has made me think, okay, am I being irresponsible by not getting her an MRI? The doctor's thinking I'd be irresponsible not to suggest these other things and eliminate these other possibilities. Because if it's not what Eric thinks it is, I don't know what NAC is as a detoxifier. I think the damage has been done and it's slowly repairing, you know. But he did prescribe GABA hay today for Rachel for the neuropathy syndrome symptoms. The funny thing is, she had GABA hay before, and I recommended she not take it because I didn't know if it was going to worsen it or not. So, and Googling it, I wasn't clear what its relationship with serotonin was, and so. Right, so here's the thing. He's telling us to go get her tested for diabetes. And I'm like, didn't we get you tested for that? Didn't you test negative for it? And Rachel's like, yeah, and she dug out the paper, in fact. And what it says right here is you can see here it says diabetes screening. Random glucose shows no diabetes. Goal glucose is less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. Hemoglobin A1C is normal. Normal is less than 5.7%. Diabetes range is 6.5% or higher. And then on the back, it shows more things like specific things. Like I don't even know what all these things are, right? But so I asked him, she got 5.3. It does even say. It even does say what it is, 5.3. I took a picture of this and I sent it to him. And I said, why should we negate this test result? And he said, well, because it says it's normal, but it doesn't tell you what your actual score is. It actually does say on the back. And we sent him this paper before, too. So it actually does say, hers is 5.3, so it's 0.4% less than the normal. No, it's fine. If Rachel tells me that she doesn't want me doing that, then fine. But it's not. I don't believe in for being any need for privacy about medical information like that. If Rachel tells me she doesn't want me showing that, fine. But until that happens, I'm going to assume it's fine. No, he's neither, actually. He's the good doctor. But he still doesn't seem to get the frame of reference here. I think it's because he's NI 6th. So, it's like, I sent him, my question that I asked him was, I sent him my hypothesis about what's going on here, which is that there was a toxic drug interaction that overwhelmed the detoxifying pathway and somehow weakened or damaged it. That weakening or damaging of that pathway somehow is manifests as these neuropathy symptoms, and that it's slowly repairing, and that's why the symptoms are getting better. But when you push it with more serotonin, when you push its limits, it's like weakened now. It's like you push its limits, and she starts experiencing more of the neuropathy symptoms. And he didn't want to answer my question. Basically, which was, does this make sense, or does it run counter to things we know in the status quo? And his response was, it sounds plausible, but most neuropathy is caused by these other things. And it's just like, okay, but yeah, but also most neuropathy doesn't manifest the way that Rachel's has. The most intense symptoms first, and then going down on a slope, That's indicative of a single event kind of neuropathy, not a neuropathy that's growing over time by multiple sclerosis, diabetes, or any of those other kinds of causes. It's like, in this instance, Klaus, I was really disappointed with him today because he's been a really good doctor overall. But he's a little... He's been pushed a little off of his game by me and my insistence that things make sense. As every doctor is, doctors don't want you to evaluate them and their competency by asking a bunch of questions. But he's more tolerant of it than most. He conceded my thing sounded plausible. Granted, that's not the strongest endorsement in the world. But in other words, he couldn't think of any specific reason to negate it as a possible explanation. Well, I think what definitely doesn't make sense is, let's do a bunch of tests, especially if we're going to be paying for them out of pocket, that are designed simply to eliminate things that we should have already eliminated. She has a diagnosis. She's got neuropathy linked to a toxic drug interaction event combined that also involves serotonin syndrome. So she definitely had serotonin syndrome for a month. But the serotonin syndrome probably wasn't responsible per se for the neuropathy, but rather the combination of multiple drugs using the same toxicity clearing pathway caused the toxicity to linger longer than it should have and do damage. So the problem is, that's a speculative explanation, right? Like, it's by far the best explanation, though. You can't test for the explanation that I have, but you can do a bunch of other tests to eliminate other possibilities. Except we can eliminate those same possibilities by pointing out that diabetes neuropathy symptoms go the opposite direction. They start minor and they get gradually worse. Same with multiple sclerosis. So we can eliminate those by virtue of the fact that Rachel's been the exact opposite. She probably had a benzo too. She probably had benzos in the mix too. It's like she had a lot of things in the mix that night. You know, too many things in the mix. She had Prozac. She had olanzapine. She had Klonopin. She had Whippets. She had Adderall. She had DMT. And a microdose of LSD. So she had a lot of shit going on in her system there that night, right? You can understand why there would be a toxic drug interaction, and it's somewhat two things are responsible for it, really. Number one, the fact that we'd done all of these things before and never had a problem, and number two, that there's no way I was ever going to be on the lookout for a toxic drug interaction until one happened around me. Right? It's an SI failure, you know. The thing is, you could always make that argument that we'd be better knowing more and eliminating other possible things in a world that nobody pays for anything or there's no consequence to uncertainty. By stirring up the possible explanations again, Rachel now has to worry, oh, do I have multiple sclerosis? Do I have a tumor? Do I have a yeah? Even though all of those questions are made moot by the fact that we've already got a diagnosis that's solid, and there's no way this is a new emerging different thing, because her old symptoms haven't totally gone away, and these are totally consistent with those old symptoms at a former moment. They're just flaring back up again. So it doesn't make any sense this would be some new thing emerging that's just separate, you know. Alright, you have a question for me to solve? Okay. Usually problems are solved, questions are answered, but let's see. Let's see what you present me. $130. Oh, he's using the 100. Never mind. Hold on. Let me think again about this. Because he's using the 100. I assumed he spent 70. He took 100 and like tens and spent 7 of them. Kept 3, and then got 3 more from the guy. So in that case, if it's the way that you say it there, then it would be $100. Assuming that $70 worth of goods is what the shop paid for them and not what their out the door price is. So it's $100. No, because the guy got his $70 worth of cash back. Oh my God. So the guy only loses $30 in cash, and he loses $70 worth of stuff for $100. Now, if a guy walked into the store, stole $100 from the register without the owner's knowledge, bought $70 worth of goods using 7 tens from the 10 tens he had stolen, and then got $30 change, well, then he wouldn't have gotten any change, and then just walked out the door with his $30 plus the $70 worth of goods, would have gotten no change. Still would be $100. Yeah, well, I agree with Davey. It's assuming this is assuming it's $70 is what the owner paid for the goods, not $70 of priced goods, right? Like, so presumably the robber doesn't know, but we know somehow that he's stolen $70, but he's paying for it in this instance. So okay, it must be $70 worth of cost, priced goods then. Well, in that case, he lost less than $100, probably about $65 he lost, I would guess. I think that most markup on most retail items is about twice what they pay for it. If you want to factor that in. What do you think the answer is, Jack? No. A guy steals $100 from the register without the owner's knowledge. He then goes around shops, put things in his cart, gets $70 worth of stuff. He takes it to the register. Using the $100, he pays the owner, and the owner gives him $30 change. So now the owner's only lost $30 in cash, but he's lost goods totaling $70 in price. The goods themselves probably were purchased at half the cost of the price tag, so that's $35. Minus of the 100 is minus $65. Right. There was only one abnormal interaction, which was the 100 stolen dollars, so that's the only not stolen. Let's see if... Well, you probably did what I did, Jack C. I guessed 130 at first, too, before I realized, oh, no, he's not getting $10 bills, so... Right, so in that case, if it has a 50% markup, then he lost $65. You know, but plus the labor for stocking, it probably equals out, you know. And the hassle of having to reorder, or having to reorder sooner or something, I don't know. Yeah, well, the store owner lost his sense of a just world. Well, the real answer is 100. Basically, if you don't factor in markup, then it's 100. But if you do factor in markup, then it's something else. An interesting question. If I take $100 from a pig and give it to a horse, is it still $100? If a pig objects when I take away its $100, is it really a pig? These are the kind of questions philosophers ask. Important questions. Like, what's really a pig? But really, though. One of those things? No, but what is a pig? One of those things. Those big things that oink. But are they really a pig? Yes. It's like, okay. Let's not make things more complicated than we need to. At MLG is the smartest in the room. Men like gods, a bloogity bloom. Smartest in the room, a bliggity bloom. That's what they say when you make it a schmoom. You know, my daughter recommended this purportedly funny gamer commentary guy, and it was pretty funny, pretty good, I guess. But it was pretty clear to me also that the person doing it was an ESTP, probably not an ENTP. It was a lot more like cursy than me, maybe. I'll drop some F-bombs here and there, but I didn't love it. I didn't. There was one that was pretty funny, which showed him playing this video game. Like, his thing is playing super shitty video games and talking about how shitty they are. And he played this one called Safety Driver, in which you pick the drugs or alcohol that your driver does ahead of time, and then you're impaired accordingly, and you crash and you get injured and tells you the injury. And it's supposed to teach you, I guess, the dangers of driving under intoxication. Anyway, Club ENTP slandering you in his latest He Loves You. Oh, what did he say? Anything worth responding to? Calling out the TWFP community, huh? Just more of the same, huh? Well, maybe I will make a response. I'm feeling pretty chill. What was his conclusion? Was she an ENTP? What was his conclusion about Melissa's talks? I guess I'm just curious about it. I better just watch it. I know that's what it said in the title and stuff. But I wonder if he articulated a specific conclusion about it. Probably like, I don't know and nobody else does either. Well, maybe it's worthwhile watching it. I guess you can say whatever you want to say. What does he think FI is? Does he articulate anything like that? No. Alright, let's take a look, see. Like, stop judging me, bro. How long is it?
illicit toxins in the ENT.
Alright, let's do this shit. You don't know me, man? Oh, fantastic. Everybody's favorite bullshit. I'll flow the round here. I'm going to put it on low res so it doesn't cause much challenge for the streaming here. Okay. And let me come on now. There's no reason to be that slow. Put it 240. Put it at 1.5 speed. God, this is so slow. This is taking a second, but it's going to be worth it when I get it set up. Alright. Let's see. Lower my resolution here to this.
Melissa Thompson's an ENTP, or do I think that most Eric knows Melissa better than Melissa knows herself? Well, today I'm going to reveal my official determination. Exactly what type is Melissa Thompson. Today I'm going to give you my official determination of Melissa Talk's actual type. Months and months ago, I reached out to Melissa Talks for collaboration. She graciously accepted and invited me onto her show to talk about the sexuality of the ENTP from a male's position. Maybe I should say perspective. Anyway, I received so much hate from the Eric sycophants that I have to address this and give you my honest opinion on Melissa's actual MBTI type. I'm also accused of not being in the NTV because I didn't call her out
when she was on my show. And at that point, Eric hadn't premiered his type police video where he and Rachel call her out as perhaps being mistyped. And that's when it all started. I knew Eric was going to attack Melissa once he saw her on my show and me on her show. I knew that it would set him off, that she didn't choose him for her first ENTP guest. He was the one who was actually butthurt. I knew he would go after her and go after me as well. And so I warned Melissa that he will attack her, and if she wanted to form a preemptive trap against Eric. She declined, but later she mentioned on her response video that she was warned ahead of time by a fellow YouTuber that Eric will attack her soon. She was talking about me. I was right, and I knew 13 months ago that he would attack me when I got big enough as a channel and became a threat to his monopoly.
Of the coveted title, ENTP of the I was raised hard and poor. I always keep my enemies close to me and to believe that when they are at their weakest and at their weakest, and Eric loves to be worshipped. So I gave him a sense of it while mocking him openly on the show. He was oblivious to my sarcastic flattery and ate it up.
What a weird way to attack me. Like, he's basically saying, he's telling a story, right? He's telling a story about how I'm motivated to attack people because they get to a certain size, and that I was jealous because she chose him to be on her show first. I mean, of course, I was completely unaware of Melissa Talks until after a bunch of people jumping on me to say, like, make more type police videos. I said, okay, well, who should I do? And a bunch of people said Melissa Talks. So I did Melissa Talks, you know. And and the only extent that I knew about Club ENTP was because he kept coming around and talking a lot, you know, to me. And trying to get me to be his friend or collaborate with him or something in a friendly way, I guess. And he's consistently seemed to think that I operate like he does, which is that everything's ultimately about the outcome or something. Yeah, exactly. Certainly had never seen him on Melissa Talks. I wouldn't watch her videos, you know. She was completely off my radar until we type policed her. Yeah, he is admitting to how proud he is of being a backstabber. But the fact that I was polite doesn't mean that, I mean, what was oblivious to him, obviously, was that I was rapidly losing respect for him. You know? He was obviously oblivious to that, whatever I was oblivious to. I found him pleasant enough, but avoidant. You know, it's like I said before, I liked the guy, I didn't want to be a dick about things. And unfortunately, it's, you've never seen a full outcome on this channel? What do you mean? What do you mean by a full outcome? I don't know what that means. Regardless, this guy's just straight up lying, right? That's not how things are at all. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. He's just straight up lying.
Go back and watch all the ways I mocked him in his face.
On his show, but he's got jail for it. So let's get back to Melissa Talks. And is she an ENTP or something else? So I've spent nearly 4 hours total on Zoom with her, and it was mostly unscripted. The first thing I noticed was her quirkiness. And as we both struggled with new technology, Zoom, we were both unfamiliar with it, and I saw we were similar in our response to technical difficulties. While getting up and around, we were both straining our consciousness in an energized conversation full of humor. We prepared for the show with my breathing techniques that I always do, and as soon as I called action, I watched her face and body position change suddenly, and I was watching to see if there were any similarities, you know, between us. But I saw her positioning change instantly. It was like watching her on her show, surreal. It was totally different than the earlier conversation.
I saw she was highly professional, and I was super impressed right away. After a while, we ended the recording, and we just went right back to talking like long-time friends, laughing and ranting. And then we both said, "Damn, we should have been recording this conversation because it was so epic." Then we started recording again, and another hour and a half goes by. I noticed the parallels between us. I watched her hand movements to see if we were similar in style. I watched her eye movements to see if
Okay, but of course, the problem is he's not an ENTP. So even if he and she are the same type, and he's backing that up with comparing her to himself, it's not like he's an ENTP. So if you were an ENTP, he would at least note that. There's just zero TI in here, right? It's like there's zero attempt to honestly parse out anything, and a dismissal in general of the idea that typology links to any kind of concrete metric that you ought to check under, right? Which it's like there's an active avoidance of checking by both these people because they don't want to be checked, you know. We could check them. He avoided it, and then he threw out a bunch of lies when he came out into the stream, and I said, well, let's do it right now. Come meet me at Google Meet. He said, no, I'm trying to trap him into some sort of hack or something. And we're like, okay, well, somebody else printed up a Zoom. I said, okay, here's a Zoom. You like Zoom better? Fine. Go meet in this neutral Zoom room. He said no, and just, avoided in every way, shape, or form any opportunity to actually be tested on his introverted thinking and extroverted intuition directly. And he avoided it in the one conversation we did have, and I didn't do a great job of sticking to my task because I was trying to be polite, I guess. I was trying to be nice. It did make a difference that I was in his space from that perspective. And it's interesting that when I suggested the second time we meet so I can verify these things, he absolutely refused to meet on my ground, which is just a Google Meet, for fuck's sake. But, he's a really dishonest guy. He's really dishonest. Because what he's saying here, this whole reasons why Melissa's like NENP is reasons why Melissa's like him, maybe. That may be justifications for why Melissa's like him. Look at this shit. Like this.
He wanted to get her subscribers, and he was willing to send his audience out to attack her, to discredit her identity, just to provoke her to come onto his show. He would have typed her as an ENTP, I guarantee it, just like he typed me as an ENTP on his show. Later, he would have changed his mind to get her back on the show for more views.
Oh my god, the lies. The abject lies. Look, the thing is, if you had, okay, I can't watch this shit anymore. Such fucking lies. Such lies and slander. I'm not motivated by those things. He's fucking insane. I told him directly, I don't want you back on my show. Quote unquote. It's an expression he uses. I'm trying to get her views or something. Man, if I was trying to get views, I have plenty of good ways to get views that don't involve you scrubs. It's ridiculous. That is weird. I mean, talk about just projecting shit, right? SE first, necessary violence. I'm pretty sure he's an ESFP. But, well, I mean, he's a subject of my show, but he's not on it. He is the subject of it. The thing is, he's just lying. I mean, He's not even. It's not even like he's making bad arguments. Or he's just straight up lying, and he's attributing all kinds of motivations to me that I do not have, that he could not possibly know. We can know how well he'll do on the TI tests if he lets me test him. And the thing is, if it had been a normal typing session in the first place, we wouldn't have had any problem. But it wasn't a normal typing session. He managed to get me to type him for free, as the SFPs tend to do. And, this is so projecting his way of thinking about things onto me, right? That I'm trying, I had no idea. I mean, the conceit and the absurd conceit of this guy, thinking that I'm caring about him and her, except that they're saying bullshit about me. And no, I don't care about them, except that they're saying bullshit about me, so stop, There are ways you could try to critique what I'm doing, but if you're just abjectly lying about things, then you've got no ground to stand on whatsoever. Nothing you're saying there is true about me. Yeah, completely nonsense. The reason I picked Melissa Talks is because I asked people, I think I probably have a record for it in the stream. I asked people, I was like, fine, I'll do something. Who should we do? And a bunch of people said Melissa Talks. It was like #1 answer. I never even heard of the bitch before. I don't watch other typology channels. Why people think I would, I don't know. Because they just make me mad. Him putting the Joker on his face made you want to vomit. I mean, I guess he's being disruptive, but anybody can be disruptive by just telling a bunch of lies and ignoring the fact that my claim is neither of them is ENTP. So establishing that she's an ENTP by comparing himself against her is to, of course, predicate arguments on facts, not on evidence. And the fact that he's not even acknowledging any of that shit or aware of it is proof positive. He's no ENTP. SE seeks struggle. Yeah. I suspected that that Davey was so-called sock puppet as well, but you have to comment that, at least at the time, convinced me that he probably wasn't. But I could be convinced back the other direction. Which was, he said, these are the identities that I have been before, just so you don't think I'm catfishing you. I have been multiple identities, but I'm not him, is basically what he said. I said, okay, well, that's kind of convincing. I believe it, but at least until I see other. I mean, I agree with where everyone's intuition's going here. As he seeks struggle. Well, I mean, the thing is, you can be impactful, or you can be a liar. Anybody can make impacts with lies, right? If I just tell lies, I can make an impact. I can go up to somebody and say, "Oh my God, did you hear the news? Your family's dead." And if I convince them that I'm telling the truth, then I can laugh as they grieve, only to discover lately that I was lying. It's it's easy to create impacts with lies because you're trading your trustworthiness for the belief of the other person this time. But hopefully people keep track of that shit and they don't. The people who are lying lose trust. I do a lot of things that you can critique in the world, but it's pretty hard to call me a liar. You know, I do my best to be honest and truthful and fair. I'm not always fair, but I'm not always doing full justice to both sides or whatever. But at least I'm not a liar, you know? And that guy's just telling straight up lies about me. Those things are never on my mind. I'm never motivated by any of that shit. He's nuts if he thinks I was. And he knows better. I mean, it's just a way to frame it, and he doesn't think it matters whether it has any linkage whatsoever to the truth. And shame on him for that. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you'd think at some point that if nothing else, my pointing out that he's lying all the time would not serve him well. That he would have some problem with that. That video is like an hour. Wasn't that crazy? Oh no, that's the whole thing. The video wasn't that long, I guess. Stop spreading cancer. People who think that if they can convince people of your lies as consent, somehow think that makes them not a liar. I'm afraid not. You're just a liar who has just unfortunately managed to exploit human rules to convince yourself otherwise. Yeah. You're welcome, Rachel. I felt like not a particularly great partner today, as I got absorbed into tip-tap typing away on CJ's stream, saying things as Eric does, liking to say things. Eric, always liking to say things. What's wrong with you? But you know, it's like the thing that Delilah likes a lot that she shared with me has got like some 0.6 million subs. I don't know, 4.6 million subs or something like that. And I just found it just lacked a little bit of intuitive zing to it. But I also sort of realized that's where the biggest spot of commonality is. Like, you're gonna get, it's like a censor doing intuitive style comedy, which excludes a lot of the stuff but includes some of the stuff, because it's like TI person, right? It's a TI tool user probably doing this comedy and is doing a pretty good job of it, but it's a lot of like shock comedy kind of stuff or whatever. Well, obviously you've not watched enough Mindy's Club, Siegfried. How are you feeling, Rachel? You feeling full of verve and vitality? Fair enough. Well, you know, a lot of the most successful ones are just one-offs. The thing is that makes Mindy's Club somewhat of a challenge is, generally speaking, the more successful shorts are like things that link more to the sensory world. Like the one where I have Tiffany complaining about Victor Espinoza as a jockey after her horse loses at the racetrack. That one did well. The one where I have Tiffany trying to pull a paper towel from a machine in the gas station, and she goes, "Why do they make that thing so hard to pull out? Oh my god!" I'm getting a feel for the timing of them too. It's like the one that published tonight. It's too long. It's weird how something could be too long at 15 seconds, but it's true. It's too long, and or the timing's not quite right. There's too many cuts, I guess. It's a gratifying medium to work in. They're like haikus in a sense, you know? I want to do interesting things with the shorts medium that I don't think shorts are envisioned to be. Like, I want to do this videos coming up in a little bit, or maybe later, maybe pretty soon I'll start doing this, of Tiffany waking up in Egypt now that I have these Egypt backgrounds, and she's going to, I want to do a basically pseudo stop motion of her getting up and being like, ah, right? So this is going to be an interesting thing to do, because the only way I can meaningfully do it with the shorts interface is to push record, push pause, move her a little bit, push record, push pause, move her a little bit, push record, push pause, because it's got a pause button on the video, right? And then for throughout that whole thing, I'm gonna have to be going like ah, and then the yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, it's good advice to have some dynamic camera movements. Yeah, I mean, I'm experimenting with that stuff. Like in the most recent ones, or one of the most recent ones this morning, I did. In other words, it starts on Tiffany yelling at the peacocks in the tree, and then it pans up to the tree where the peacocks are. And that one did pretty well. Interestingly, it as soon as I published it, it jumped right on the shorts feed, like instantly, and was on the shorts feed for 1 hour, got 2,000 views, and then dropped off the feed. So that was interesting. So it's like when I'm doing this video that I'm imagining here of Tiffany waking up, the way I want to do it is the first chunk of it is very labor intensive, you know, depending on how many different movements I want to include. It could be very much so, you know. And you try to get them equal size each movement. But anyway, and then the audio is not going to be proper for that because I'm not going to be able to at any point get a single. You can't like mix in a bit of audio over the top of it, right? And so the audio is going to be like, but it might sound good. I don't know. Or I could try to do it with no audio and just have her moving during that part, and then start the audio right after. I have no idea, by the way, but do you think your series of YouTube shorts has an indefinable, identity, like a followable, cohesive story and style, almost like a brand? As an identifiable? Yeah, I do. I think of Indies Club as that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a cohesive, followable story, although you have to watch it accordingly. There are what are called arcs. So I've got the playlist set up in terms of arcs, and if you click on one of those arcs, it goes from the beginning of that story arc to the end of that story arc. These story arcs do thread in together, but it's more like you could thread those story arcs into one episode, okay? And it may have, depending on the story arc, 10 to 20 shorts in it, you know? So you're still talking about, 3-4 minutes of total content for a episode, but it's broken into 15-second chunks. Now, to watch it that way, of course, you've got to watch it on the channel, in which case you're engaging with the things as long-form videos, not as shorts. So, to be idealized, and ideally, yeah, I know, Nicholas Watson, but the problem is the way the shorts interface, the shorts making interface works with YouTube. That's the problem with it. Oh yeah, where Corduroy falls out of the cactus and she catches him. Have you ever considered collabing for some alt VO? I don't know what an alt VO is. You can't really edit that much. You can't edit in. We'll put it this way. I've found it difficult to edit in shorts at shorter than 0.4 second chunks. So when you try doing like 0.1 second, 0.1, so you have like 10 movements a second or something, it doesn't seem to work. Or that's been my experience anyway. So additionally, you can't add an audio track. You can only add music from their library. Okay, well then, I guess I could do that, prepare the short before uploading it to the short with third-party software, and then upload the short to Google Photos, get it onto my phone from Google Photos, and then upload it from my phone. Because you can't upload shorts from the computer. which is weird, right? Yeah, it would be more labor intensive. That doesn't necessarily mean I wouldn't be willing to do it. We're still talking about a 15-second long video, right? So editing has a relatively low ceiling. It's perfect for my way of paying attention. I can pay attention a lot better to a succession of labor intensive projects if they're short than if they stretch on for a long ass time, you know? I mean, I have the same problem with the software I'm currently using when it comes to stop action shit, which is, well, I guess basically what I have to do is make a GIF in GIMP. Okay, Siegfried, I'll make you a circle pick. I'll make you a circle pick. What's the recommended dimensions? That sounds fun. That's why they call you Circle Pick Burkle Dick. The roundest, most Berkeley-dicked man in history. What does it mean to be Berkeley-dicked, Eric? Oh, so much. Okay. You're really going to feel this one. You're going to say, wow, that's fantastic, Eric. You did a fantastic job. That's what you're going to say to me when you're done seeing this thing that I did. Oh yeah, you are. So first what we're going to do is we're going to colorize this bitch. We're going to colorize it as hard as it's ever been colorized. What color? Maybe that color. Maybe this color. It didn't seem to work. Okay. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna lighting effects it, and we're gonna hit it square with a nice big poo in the face. Oh, I see what the problem is. It's on the wrong layer. Silly Eric. You're so silly. Why are you so silly? It's 'cause you don't take your silliness suppression pills often enough. You know you need to take them, or else you are a great man who's not taking sufficient amount of pills. Well, at least I'm still a great man. Well, pretty good, maybe. Meow. 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 Okay. Looking good. Looking good. I've got Meow's circle coming up right now. Here it is. We're going to call it Meow's circle. Did I get a desired resolution on that yet? Alright, well, let me get a link for this. I gotta upload this to Google Drive. This is pretty important stuff what's going on right now. Or maybe Google Photos even. I could upload it there instead. That would be a magical choice. If you like magical choices, you'll like my magical way. You'll enjoy everything that's magical, that I magically do every day. If you love to touch my choice-making face, you'll love to find the thing. Where did I save it? I wonder where could I have saved it? Bling! Where is it saved, though? What's it called? What did I save it as? Stupid Eric doesn't remember what he saves things as. Mia's Circle is what it's called. It's called Mia's Circle. Okay. Where's Mia's Circle? There it is. Okay, Mia's Circle. And now what I'm going to do for Mia's Circle, I'm going to get a link to it. I'm going to share and share alike. Create link. Create link. Copy. Okay, now you are about to see something truly magnificent. Custom ordered circle picture. Pow. Pow. What do you think about that, huh? Tell me what you think about that. Tell me if you've got enough of a fact to think a thing about a thing that you have made for you. But it's not really clear what this is. The flaming lips. I thought I was wrong. I thought I was right. I thought I did it. The fight, down. If you're wearing Google glasses, does that mean you have googly eyes? Good question. You found a hair tie for Tiffany? Okay, cool. Do you think the hair tie I have is too big? Does it? You know what? It's a I got the original picture. Oh my god, you guys missed all the best words. Those were the best words. You missed them. And now I've forgotten them. So now we're just completely fucked. Yeah. Well, I mean, those words were life-changing. Each of your lives was right on the verge of changing to be dramatically worse. But fortunately, my mic muted. That's the power of my words. 2 words from me can take you either to the bottom of the depths of the ocean of despair and shame and pain, or to the height of the mountain of Everest of goodness. Either way, or anywhere in between, you never know. It's a crapshoot. I'm a loose cannon. Would chaos be SE or NE? Well, I'd say it's definitely more SE than NE because because NE has a conscious sense of how they would like to have more archiving in their life, a better job of archiving, following through. They blame their TE failures on SI failures because SI is conscious. They don't expect to have to TE in their own lives, you know. Think about a typologist that is one sort of linguistic habit distinct between a typologist and somebody who's playing at type is when I talk about ENTPs, I'm inclined to refer to them as they as often as I would we, because when I'm talking about ENTPs, I'm thinking about them as an object of analysis linked to cognitive functions. And of course, if you are not really a typologist, you're much more likely to talk about ENTPs as we if you self-identify as one, regardless of whether you are one. I'm the best. I'm not a good whisper shouter, really. Ken is the source of the whisper shout, and he's the best at it. You got to believe. You've got within you the goodness and the strength to do what you've got to do today. You're the best. I'm the greatest. You've had my fill of the internet for today. Back to reading midrashic text. Bereshit Rabbah. The Bereshit Rabbah? Is that the famous Rabbah about Bereshit? Now that I've made it my PFP, what is it? Well, it's that other link. It's a picture called, I don't know, I used it as a thumb for a stream called Old Drama. I googled old drama and I got this photo, which I will upload now and show you the original photo. And it's one of the pictures that pops up in Google Images towards the top if you type in old drama. What's interesting, if you type in old drama into Google Images, all the top results are old Pakistani dramas. Isn't that interesting? You wouldn't think that old Pakistani dramas comprise the world's first thought regarding old dramas, but apparently they do. Here's the original picture. So now you've seen it in its cropped form, its uncropped form, and in its cropped and filtered form. What I did is lighting effect and then mosaic. So it wasn't just mosaic, okay? New groove, okay? Now you're hurting my feelings. I did two things, not one. Also, I even picked the size of the mosaic things, so don't need to tease me about it, okay? I like to play Gimp sometimes. Muhammad Ali is the best. See how quick an angel he was inside a boxing ring and realize he's in a heavyweight club. I know, well, I mean, you gotta wonder if you put Mike Tyson in with Muhammad Ali, both at 19 years old, maybe Cassius Clay versus Mike Tyson. I would love to see that fight, you know? You reverse Google Eric's thumbnail when the video came out, and now I have that trivia to be proud of. I didn't know you could reverse Google images. Peter's here. Oh, good. Thank God. Don't worry, it's not No Peter's Day. We had a No Paul's Day. No Paul's allowed. We might someday have a No Peter's Day, but it would be unrelated to Peter Dentici. You don't have a penis in your profile picture. It's not a penis, though. There's no penis involved at all. I don't know how it came out to look like one. Who's your favorite disembodied head that talked to you here? I mean, that's tough to answer. I mean, first of all, it's an FE landmine, but moot. Oh, he meant mute. Okay, so, let's see. Well, I mean, there are people that, I mean, I like Oliver Linehan a lot, comes to mind. Chris Chapman always puts interesting things out. Siegfried, I'm fond of you. Boba Fett, nice person. Good contributions. You know, New Groove. All these people here right now are fine. I don't have any problem with anybody. Really, like, people delight me with certain things they say sometimes. I don't necessarily attribute to their person delightfulness, you know. Yeah, I'm fond of you. Would you like me to eat a banana suggestively for you? I did that in this morning's stream. It was pretty powerful stuff. Shall we do a repeat performance of a show called Eric Eats a Banana Suggestively? Yes, I think we shall. I titled this Eric Eats a Banana Suggestively. Let me see if I can find some waka waka pow pow, waka pow pow, waka waka pow pow music. Not gonna bother. Okay, here we go. Get ready. First, I'm gonna suggestively peel the banana. Oh yeah. Ooh, uncut, huh? Ready? It's a little bright. I'm suggestively eating this banana. Part of my campaign to determine whether or not you're allowed to suggestively eat a banana on YouTube. Is that considered unacceptable? Oh yeah, banana. You're so long and firm. Ooh, yeah. This part's a little brown right there. Once I go brown, I'm never gonna frown. I have to really scope out, send out some scouting troops on my banana for the part I'm going to upcomingly eat. So, you feel pretty suggested to, huh? The thing is, this is just how I eat my bananas, that's all. I don't trust the banana enough to bite it until it's really been explored a little bit by the inside of my mouth. I gotta tell you, bananas are so much better when you eat them this way. You know they have a takedown flag called impersonating a historical event? I am the Battle of Gettysburg. Boop, 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 boop. Ba-da-ba-ba, new groove. You got a drum roll for that one, buddy. A real live drum roll. No, you just can't impersonate historical events. You can't go around saying, "Hey, I'm 9/11. Nice to meet you." It's so educational. It's educational about alternative ways to eat bananas. If you've just been eating it with just your first lips or something, you've not really checked out the piece of banana you're going to bite enough. How many defeats does it take to be an accomplished defeatist? Six. 6 seems to be the magic number these days. What with the 6 great generals of Keen on my mind at the moment. Impersonating a historical event. Maybe it means like pretending you were part of something you weren't part of, like bearing false testimony about an event you weren't actually at or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, I was there. It was the Battle of Midway. I was actually strapped onto the top of an American fighter jet because we didn't have any more room inside, and I said, "But you need me on here with a gun," and I had a gun, and I was shooting at everything, and everything was exploding all around me until finally we landed, and I said, "I killed like 1,000,000 Japs," and they're like, "Wow, you're great." Like that. Wait a second, Eric. You weren't at Midway. That never happened. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I was. I was there. I was strapped to the top of an American fighter jet, just like I said. I was that guy. I was standing next to the guy who stabbed Julius Caesar. I was standing right next to that guy. His name was Brutus. My name was Clontonclicus. Roman Conglonclitus was little known senator, and I was standing right next to him. I said, What are you doing with that knife, man?" And before I knew it, he stabbed him right in the yazoo, you know. Today was the day of the great Eric not getting his question answered event. Stolen valor. Stolen valor. Please don't steal my valor. I wonder, like, how obvious your lie has to be for them to accept that it's you're just fucking around, you know. If I say I was in the Civil War battle of Antietam and start talking about it, is it going to be presumed that this is a metaphor or something, or am I actually going to be accused of falsely representing myself? Or is there some level of common sense that gets applied here? How do you keep Eric in suspense? End your anime on shit's about to go down note and make me wait a week for the next one to come out. Probably the best way to keep me in suspense. Or just literally suspend me in the air would be the most certain way to do it. You ever watch any of these YouTuber vets going after stolen valor people? No. I've never attempted to steal anybody's valor. Yeah, I'm really into Kingdom. Well, it's in its 4th season. It's not really new, but the 4th season's coming out now, and this is coming out on a weekly basis on Crunchyroll. I could get suspended from school. That's true. What if I take a real event that happened and overplay its historical significance? Ground-shaking news, everybody. My cat puked earlier. Alert the international media outlets. That Korean zombie movie? I'm not sure what you're talking about. You mean We Were All Dead? The Kingdom is not a zombie movie. It has nothing to do with zombies. But Kingdom is set in like the Dynasties period, I guess. You would say basically it's Japanese shogunates moved to a China-like land where everyone's got Chinese names. And they battle with armies that have infantry, have cavalry, and different kinds of archaic weapons and horses and stuff, but no firearms really. Some capacity to use fire, but not firearms. And they got siege engines and castles and stuff. And it's basically the story of this is on Crunchyroll. It's the story of these 2 young guys coming of age in a kingdom that's one of 7 kingdoms in a perpetually warring period of shogunates and lords and armies and such, you know. And the king's goal is to unify the Middle Kingdom, and the other guy's goal is to become one of the world's greatest generals. And so there's an inherent glorification of war that you don't really get very much anymore in cartoons or anything. There's not a lot of they pay a little bit of lip service to the costs of war, but it's basically treated as though it's fine when soldiers die, no matter how many they die, how many die. It's just you can't kill civilians, and you shouldn't kill surrendered people, you know. But then even some of the good guys do that sometimes, and it's you know it's fun in the way that it lets you enjoy what war provides as a frame of reference for narrative building without all the accompanying "don't forget killing's bad" shit, you know. And another one the best one I've been watching, the one that's really fucking good, like glued to the edge of your seat, fantastic, is Spy X Family. It's only had 2 episodes so far, I think, maybe 3, but for each of them, it's that I've been more impressed by that than I've been in anything in a long ass time. It's the kind of thing that goes like, you go, whoa, where did that 23 minutes go? I've watched some of it. That one doesn't really grab me that much. It didn't grab me. Yeah, I watched it. I watched, I don't know, 8 or 9 episodes of it or something like that. It didn't really tickle my jiggles. But Spy X Family is paced so well. Everything about it is exactly the right mix of action, suspense, excitement, humor, quirkiness. Yeah, right? Have I watched Serial Experiments Lane? No. I haven't. Like when an anime gets too far removed from magic and swords and dragons and stuff, my interest in it tends to wane. Okay, well, I'm suddenly feeling kind of tired. So I think I'm gonna call it a stream here. But I might play a song or two first. I'm not sure. You know, there's usually a couple false alarms before I actually stop streaming. I think Naruto's an ESFP. I think Naruto's an ESFP who's in a world that has a place for ESFPs and the unique skills they bring. In fact, if anything, it's a celebration. The whole show is a celebration of the ESFP as manifest in the right context. It's not like anything's really making any sense in this Naruto world of ninjas fighting against each other and supervillains coming along to try to enslave everybody and everything. Alright, well, cool. CJ's streaming, so head over there, I guess. And anyway, I am going to play a song here before I go. Even if it's just a song of lamentation and woe. It was what you might call demotivational Thursday today. There are songs of lamentation. There are songs of woe. There are songs sad and sorrowful. There are songs that make you feel like it's no good. wonderful when it's slightly tarnished. Not lament that death's good, even if it ain't as it once was. Don't forget the value implicit in things, because otherwise you'll sing songs of lamentation. That's called Songs of Lamentation and Woe. Let me play another song of lamentation and woe. I don't feel I've gotten all the lamentation and woe out of me. Thought that everything was going to plan. I once thought that even things that brought me to satisfaction can. Now it seems things are more difficult than that, harder than before. Everything's getting more expensive at the door. Life's not easy all the time. Sometimes you get none of the orange or the rind. But if you will look inside of the glove box, perhaps you'll find enough to overcome these locks. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible song. That's what it looks like when you do everything wrong. From the starting note to the end of the boat, that was everything wrong. Wrongness is like a suit of butter, encompassing all of my dreams. All beauty is a suit of sour cream, captivating those who've come before. Suit of butter, make me shine. Suit of sour cream, sour as lime, sour as the time you and I got too drunk in Tijuana. Close enough. Close enough to Sleepy Week. Yeah, basically, more or less. It's called Fuck Around Friday. Yeah. Reality was better before 2019. wasn't exactly perfect, you know what I mean. One might also say that reality was better in the year 2000. 2001 and 20 as well marked each of them descents into a greater hellscape of irrationality, winning the day. CJ's dream's not really weird, it's actually quite normal there. It's as normal as it is right here. Now you might well point out that this isn't normal, and that would be a fair accounting of it. But wintertime, your cool wind blows, freezing ear tips and tips of nose. Oh, I wish I had brought my gloves. There, is that less weird? Is it really that really less weird, Winter? That's gotta be at least sort of weird. It's not weird. I think we can agree on that. Like, this song is also kind of weird. This song is also kind of weird. This song is also quite kind of weird. Kind of weird. This song is also really kind of weird. Is kind of weird. But it's not really that weird. It's comfortingly normal in some kind of capacity linked to familiarity. Because guitar is at least an instrument we know. I'm not playing sitar with its quarter notes, so I'm in quarter tones, not quarter notes at all. How wrong of me to fall into that bit of wrong. Comfortingly normal. I don't know if that qualified as comfortingly normal or not, but when failure grasps your heart with its hooks, puts them inside of you, has a look, says there's ample room in here to store me, so let's open a storage unit for me, because I'm living in you. When failure is out of space at its house, I guess it does erase the cost by going finding storage units. And it looks inside me, it says whoopee whoopee, there seems to be a lot of room in here for failure. when failure comes around and starts to kick my butt. That's why I fail, 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 fail all the time. Although this failure song might at first look seem to be not an example of the failure that I'm screaming about, that might be true, but temporarily so too, 'cause I'm pretty sure to fail pretty soon. I know how bridge making goes. It's a challenging thing when it's one of those, when you've got to find a way to get back into a place by the time the bridge is over and it denies its way. But hey, see, I had fail it. I had to go until I failed, because otherwise it would have been a failure of a failure song. Oh, failure. Why do you wrap around me like the shroud of Turin, imprinting my face upon your failure cloth every day? 'Cause you're constantly failing. That's why. Good. Good. Excellent. Keep reminding me of that, so I never forget. Don't worry, Eric, I will. Who are you? I'm your critical parent. Oh. Like, metaphorically? No, I'm your dad. Oh, right. That man who doesn't respect me. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles. And today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving to those who stay awake all night, and mostly voices say to give in. They'll try to sap your will to find, but whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten, noise is sort of based on what I see here and also on what I avoid. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say, something to say. Okay, that's it for this stream. Thank you everybody for being here. Thanks, darling. I love you. Have a good evening. I want to play around a little bit and then go to bed. Probably what's gonna happen.